G'day everyone, and welcome to the preview show for the game that's coming up tomorrow Sunday between Toulouse and Harlequins. That's going to be played in Toulouse in the south of France for the semi-final of the Investec Champions Cup. In this video I'm going to go through both of the teams, give you my predictions, talk about some of the players and ask you what you think is going to happen in this game. So let's get into it right now. G'day everyone and welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. It's great to have you here. And a special shout out today to every friend of mine in the Republic of Ireland, that beautiful island off the coast of the UK of Great Britain. Great to have you here with me today. And I'm going to be talking about the second semi-final that's coming up in Toulouse tomorrow on Sunday. And we'll know very shortly who's going to be their opponents from the first semi-final that's been played at Croke Park this afternoon between Leinster and the Northampton Saints, of course. Now this second semi-final, a lot of people are thinking that Toulouse are going to be the favourites for this one, but I think the Quins have been playing very, very well in their last games, and I think they are going to go and take it to Toulouse. But before we get into my predictions, let's have a look at both teams, and I'll give you my views on some of the players as well. So let's start off with the visitors, and Quins are going to the Stadium de Toulouse this weekend to play the semi-finals, and they've brought a pretty good team with them as well. Let's have a look at the backs to start off with. And the back three, we've got Green at fullback and Liner and Murley on the wings. A couple of good wingers there, and Green at fullback's good. So I expect them to have an open game, and if they do get a ton of ball, we should expect some exciting things. But I've been pretty impressed with Liner in his defense too in the last couple of games, so that's going to be very important against this very unpredictable, spontaneous and quite simply brilliant Toulouse team. And then moving on to the centres for this Quins in this game, and we've got Northmore and we've got Esterhuizen, and Northmore's coming in for Oscar Baird, of course, to replace him in the centre. So that's going to be a very interesting lineup. They've got a couple of powerhouses in the opposition in Toulouse to take care of, so their defence is going to be just as important in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Northmore and Esterhuizen go. Esterhuizen, of course, brilliant player, and he's going to be wanting to make a lot of breaks for the Quins to try and get through the Toulouse defence if they're going to score some tries. Now the interesting thing is, so far in this year's competition, the Quins have scored more tries than Toulouse, 27 to Toulouse's 25. And then having a look at the Quins 9 and 10 combination for this game, we've got Marcus Smith, of course, and inside him the very experienced Danny Kerr coming in for Will Porter, who I thought was fantastic against Bordeaux. He was really, really good in that game. He's been put on the bench for the start of this game, and Danny Kerr, all that experience and guile that he brings along with Marcus Smith, they're going to be wanting that to do some damage against this Toulouse team. So a good 9 and 10 combination. So having a look at the reserves backs for the Quins, and they've got Baird, Porter and Evans. So a good combination to come off the bench. Very impressed with Will Porter. I'm sure he's going to make an impact when he comes on later in the game. Let's hope the Quins are not chasing too many points by that stage. It's going to be interesting to see. So that's the back line for Quins. They're going to turn out against Toulouse tomorrow on Sunday. I think it's a good back line. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, let's move to the forwards of the Quins and see who's playing in the back three tomorrow. And we've got Dombront, Evans and Cunningham South, a big back three. Very excited by this lot. Dombrant's been going well in the last couple of games, I should say. And Cunningham South brings that extra bit of spark to the Quins, doesn't he? And he's a big boy and he's very disruptive in the breakdown situation. So expect him to go in to try and steal a lot of ball for Quins in this particular game. Set piece is going to be a huge point, and the two locks for the Quins is Herbst and Luis. And Luis and Herbst are going to be having to get a lot of line out ball, and they're going to have to make sure that structure in the scrum of the Quins is going to go well tomorrow as well. I think the possession is going to be a key part of this game. We know that Toulouse can score off scraps in games, but I think they're going to try and dominate in the forwards because they've got a very good forward pack, and they may be just a little bit too strong for the Quins up there. So Herbst and Lewis are going to have to do a big job in the locking combination for Quins. And then having a look at Quinn's front row for tomorrow's game, Collier, Walker and Baxter. This is going to be a big battle for these guys up against a very strong front row in Toulouse. The scrums are going to be significantly important in this game, and it's going to be an opportunity, I think, for Quins to try and win some unexpected ball, because I think everybody's thinking the Toulouse pack is probably going to be too good. Let me know what you think in the comments on that one. So looking at the Quins bench in the forwards, and we've got Riley, Kerrod, Hammond, Chisholm and Marler. Yes, Joe Marler's back on the bench this weekend, so a great addition to the Quins forward reserves for this weekend's game. So that's the team that's going to be taking on Toulouse from the Quins this weekend. Let me know what you think of the Quins. They've been playing some really good rugby. That game against Bordeaux was magnificent. Nobody expected them to go to Bordeaux and come away with that win, and they're going to have to go up another level, I think, against this Toulouse team. So why don't we go over and have a look at the Toulouse team now, and I'll give you my thoughts on that one as well. Okay, looking at the backs first for Toulouse, and we've got the back three of Kinghorn, Malia and Lebel. And boy, have they been playing well. Kinghorn, particularly Blair Kinghorn from Scotland, of course, been playing very well throughout this competition, as has Malia, scored a few tries. So I expect these guys to be dangerous in open play, but also very good at the back, and they're going to be able to keep the Quins out, I think, on most of the occasions. I think Quins are going to have to score more than 30 points to win this game, and as I say in many of my videos, that seems to be the benchmark if you're expecting to have a win. And I just can't see the Quins being able to score more than 30 points against this Toulouse defensive line, so we'll have to wait and see. So those are the back three for Toulouse for this game. And then moving into the centres for Toulouse, we've got Costas as outside centre, and we've got Arki, not Bundy Arki, but Arki in the second, in the inside centre, I should say. And he played a brilliant game in their last outing as well. Arki was instrumental in a lot of their attacking play, but he was also very good in defence, so look for him to have a big game. Big threats, I think, here through the centres and the outside backs for Toulouse in this game. But then moving on into the inside, the 9 and 10 combination, probably where the most danger lies for the Quins outfit. And that is, of course, at number 10, Intermac is back playing rugby this year, which is great for everybody. They need his wisdom and agile abilities around that 10 position, also his kicking game. And then inside him, we've got probably the best rugby player in the world at the moment, of course, in Anton Dupont. And he's being instrumental in making sure Toulouse have got through to the semi-finals so far. His individual brilliance could change this game, of course, his kicking off both feet. But when he does those darting runs, he can score tries from anywhere. So Quins are going to have to make sure they've got Anton Dupont covered. But when they do that, it opens up other opportunities for the outside backs for Toulouse, and that's where they become very, very dangerous. And then looking at the Toulouse reserves, how would you like to be able to have the players the like of Thomas Ramos coming on as a reserve, Choco Barras, of course, and Garou, who's coming on for Toulouse in the back line. So incredible three reserves in the backs there for Toulouse. Thomas Ramos, of course, with his percentage of kicking abilities, is going to be fundamental if Toulouse need to get some big points in the second half if he was to come on then. And of course, Choco Barras is another attacking opportunist player they have, which can cause a lot of damage for Toulouse. So these reserves can be game changers for Toulouse when they come on in this game. Fantastic backline for Toulouse. Let me know your thoughts around this one. And then we move on to the Toulouse forwards, and the amount of talent does not decrease at all when we go into their back three and see who's lining up to start this game. We have Rumat at number 8, Willis and Crew in the flankers, and I think Jack Willis has been playing outstanding this tournament and this year in particular, and he talks about how it's much easier and better for him to play when he's away from the UK. He doesn't feel the pressure so much and he's able to be himself. And boy, is he showing it this year. He's playing absolutely outstanding. In that previous game in the quarterfinal, I thought he was one of the best players on the field. And Crew also was absolutely brilliant in that game, as was Rumat. So look for the back three of Toulouse to do some damage with some very big decisive running from breakdowns as well, but also their defense will be huge in this game. But I'm thinking it's going to be in the locking area where Toulouse are going to have one of the big advantages in this game, and they've got Flamand and they've got Mifu Both of these guys are playing absolutely brilliant rugby. Mifu was huge in the quarterfinal game. We saw some busting runs from him in open play. He's very good at set piece as well. He's having a great year as Mifu, a real breakout year for him this year, and expect him to have a huge game in this semi-final. So if Quins are going to win this game, they're going to have to make sure they take care of these two guys, and I think that's going to be a bridge too far for the Quins. And then we move into the front row for Toulouse, and we have an amazing front row. Aldegheri, Malvaca and Bael. And boy, what a front row this is. I think these guys are going to have it over top of the Quins. They're going to be able to put too much pressure on, and expect them to be able to set up a good platform from the set piece to win enough ball to be able to do what Toulouse needs to do. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to be hugely dominant in terms of they're going to run gun shy over the top of Quins in the forwards. What I'm saying is I think they're going to be good enough to get the amount of ball that they need to be able to win this game and to feed it to those amazing outside backs that they have. And then let's have a look at the reserves in the forwards for Toulouse, and they've got Marchand, Netty, Merkler, Arnold and Castro. So a very good bench again to come on. We saw it in the quarterfinals. These guys can come on and really make a difference. I thought that was one of the big turning points also in the quarterfinals, and I expect it to be another turning point in this semi-final when that Toulouse bench finally gets used. Okay, so those are the two teams, two really good teams who are both playing really good rugby at the moment. They both had 4 wins apiece in this competition, and the only other time they met in this competition, which was in 2023, it was Toulouse that won 47 points to 19 in that game. I don't expect the gap to be that big this time. I think there's going to be 10 to 15 points in it to Toulouse. I think they've got too many stars in this team, both in the forwards and in the backs. I think with the little genius of Anton Dupont, he can change a game, and I think the more that Intermac plays this year, the better rugby player that he's going to become. But I think it's across the entire field that Toulouse are going to be too strong for the Quins in this game. Even though they've got players like Marcus Smith in at number 10 in the Quins and Danny Kerr with all that experience, I just think it's going to be the world-class abilities of those players in the Toulouse team. They're going to bring them home in this particular game and get them off to that final of the Champions Cup that's going to be played at the Tottenham Stadium on May the 25th. I'm picking the final to be played between Leinster and Toulouse this year at the Tottenham Stadium on May the 25th. I think Toulouse are going to have too much for Quins tomorrow in the south of France, and I'd really like to know what you think in the comments. So let me know. As I say, by the time we find out who's going to win this game, we'll know who their opponents will be. So there we go. There's my thoughts around the game on Sunday tomorrow that's going to be played between Toulouse and Harlequins. No matter what team you support this weekend, enjoy the rugby. I'm sure there's going to be some absolutely cracker rugby. We've got a sellout crowd at Croke Park today, and we've got a big crowd, I'm sure, in at the Toulouse Stadium tomorrow for the second semi-final. I'll be back after both games with my review videos on what I thought of the game, talking about players, the strategies of the teams, and those key moments in the game that might have changed it for one team or the other. So if you want to stick around for that and you enjoy my content, why not hit the subscribe button and stick around for a ride. Also, give us a thumbs up and give us a like for this video as well. Don't forget, drop me your comments on what you think is going to happen across this entire weekend of Champions Cup rugby, and let me know in this video what you think is going to happen between Toulouse and Harlequins. I'll see you again really soon on Inside Rugby with Mark. Until then, stay safe, stay well everybody, and it's time to say adios from beautiful Mexico. Bye for now.